right. And I know this subject has, well, at least for Misty and I, has kind of been this year's theme. And pretty much every conference or webinar or workshop we've attended, they've talked about this. And so we felt like we really needed to talk to our faculty about the importance of it and some of the tools we have to help you with that. So the first thing, I just have a quick question. I know some of you know this probably, but do you all know what the difference between open and closed captioning is? Is anybody familiar with the difference? Because sometimes you have open and sometimes you have closed. Anyone know? Nobody knows?
It's always there. I have a guess, but
Open
Okay, right.
is always on.
Right.
Like subtitles.
So open is part of the video, and closed means that you have the capability to turn it on and off. And so what we focus on is closed captioning, because some people do not like to have the words coming up. You know, it's that learning style thing, distracts them from the actual video. Or like me, I'm reading it and then I'm missing the action that's going on. So, but I just thought I'd start with that quick fact about open versus closed in case you hear people talking about that. All right, so closed captioning in higher ed has been in the news a lot, and I'm going to preface this part by saying I am not an attorney. I do not proclaim to have read these laws in depth, nor do I understand them in depth. So the information I'm going to share is what I've learned kind of along the way the last few months about what's going on out there. And some of you may have heard of a lawsuit that was filed against Harvard and MIT. So these are big names, which, you know, kind of surprised people, I think, that somebody would take this on. But they were sued for not providing accurate closed captions. So the videos that they were providing had what kind of like the YouTube automatic captions, which, you know, those are hilarious. I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube captions on a video that you've made, but if you need a good laugh, watch that sometime, because it's really funny actually. But they're not accurate. And so they were sued for not providing accurate closed captioning on their videos. Now, in this case, as I understand it, these were mainly targeted towards their MOOCs, their massively open online courses. And the argument was like, well, these are free. Like, you know, what does it matter? And the court said it does matter. So basically, you have to provide the same learning experience for all students, whether you know they have that disability or not in this case, because you're offering this huge open class, right? And so this is really, I think, what has got the buzz going about closed captioning, because, you know, people get kind of nervous when lawsuits start getting filed. So that kind of goes into, what does the law say? And the law really says that your videos should be closed captioned in order to be ADA compliant, also in order to meet Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, which has to do with whether or not you might lose federal funding. And not only do you have to have captions, but they have to be 99% accurate, which is pretty close to perfect, and they have to be in sync with your video. So they have to kind of, whatever your captions are saying, that's what should be showing on the video. Now, when it says all videos should be closed captions, you know, there's the argument, well, what if I don't know of anyone in my class that, you know, has a disability that I need to do this for? And there's still a lot of arguments out there around that. And so I tend to go with being safe and just doing all of them, okay? You could probably make the argument the other way too, and that's really not what we're here to do today. And so as I think Misty was in a conference this morning that was just talking about this at the OK Ahead conference, and do you want to share what you learned there, what the lawyer was saying?
So part of UCO's legal team was there, and they were just talking about how they're working on policy for some of this right now, and part of their policy is that any video that is shown on campus has to have closed captions, or you can't show the video. You just can't. So I know that's kind of...
So even in the classroom, if I show a video, even if it has closed captions, I haven't been putting them on. So you're saying I need to turn it on?
That's their policy.
That's UCO's policy, and we don't have our policy formed on that yet, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Now, a lot of times you'll hear, and I know one of the attorneys was saying this, when he teaches a class, the first day he goes over the syllabus and he reads the ADA compliance statement, and he tells them, okay, you have to identify to me so that I can help you. And he's an attorney, and he makes them do that. And he makes them bring documentation, because that's the big buzzword, right now with all the lawsuits and everything. They really need to document. But so even if that isn't a requirement, and let's say they do identify with you, and it's a day before you have this video planned, I mean, there's really no, 24 hours is kind of short notice to have to get that video closed captioned, so it's better just to kind of have that policy that, okay, everything I'm going to show is going to have that. So that's what he was telling me, just from a legal point of view.
And, it's one of those things that can be debated, and you could probably go online and find a differing opinion, And so, again, we're not here to set policy. That's one of the things we hope happens in the near future, not just with closed captioning, but with, other things that deal with that realm of, what are we required to provide and not provide with our students. But, today, of course, we're focusing on closed captioning. All right, so why do instructors not close captions? So this is a question for you instructors. So what are some of the reasons you don't do it? Or maybe I should say you don't want to do it.
I have a question. I'm not sure if it approaches what you're saying, but for example, I show a commercial video, a film of a movie. It's not closed caption. Could I be in trouble?
Yeah, you might.
I show a Shakespeare version of a movie in class.
Possibly.
Are you talking about on ground or online?
I'm talking about, I've got the video in my hand and I put it in the machine and play it.
I'd say possibly, because there's,
Another thing I've run into is, like, I had a case where I used a video, like a lot of videos in anthropology, and the production company that produces them is in England. And disability law is different there, so none of their stuff is closed captioned.
Okay.
They just don't do it.
Right.
And then another variation of that is, a lot of times for classes, I'll pull clips from movies so that instead of having to queue up the video in class, like especially with DVDs, it's a pain to find.
Yeah, like while your class is sitting there waiting on you.
So it's easier to pull the clip, which under fair use copyright, you pull a 5-minute clip, whatever.
Sure.
You put it on your computer, you can just hit play and go. But when you do that, it doesn't pull the captioning with it. So.
Okay. What else? Any other? Those are good examples. The one I hear the most, especially on videos that the instructors make, so like in the online world, maybe it's your weekly video, is that it's time consuming. Like even if you have a 5-minute, welcome to the course video, to sit there and caption that could take you a few hours, right? And then you may not use that video the next time you teach that class because you will personalize it to the next class, right? So I think, some of this stuff, we may have some solutions to help. There are going to be times when, maybe the best we can do is a transcript. And maybe not, it just kind of depends on the situation. But so this is kind of where we're at. So hopefully, eventually, like I was saying, we will develop a policy about closed captioning. So that's one of our goals. We do have a plan with some current needs that we've identified. For example, in your philosophy class, we've gone in and put transcripts on all your audio files, which we used our service, and I'm going to talk about in a minute to do that. And speaking of that, we do have some help right now with a service called CLO24, and I'm going to show you in a minute how that works. It's a pretty easy service to use. And then if you haven't ever tried Google Voice, that is an option, and I'll talk to you a little bit about how that works. That one can still be a little time-consuming because it doesn't necessarily, it's kind of like the YouTube automatic captions. It doesn't always catch everything you're saying, but it's an option that's out there. So something I want you to think about, so I know a lot of times people say, well, why do I have to waste time with closed captioning? Because I know I don't have any students in my course that need it, so it just seems like a waste of time. Well, there are benefits beyond just staying compliant with the law. So of course we want to be compliant with the law, but there are some other reasons that you might want to consider doing this just to do it. One of it is, the first thing there is universal design. Have any of you guys heard that? That's kind of a buzzword in the instructional design arena that's going around. Has anyone heard of that? I was like, yes. Which universal design basically means you design to all learning styles. So when you're designing your course, you take into account that people learn differently, like we all know. We know that we tend to teach the way that we like to teach and we like to learn, and that's also how we sometimes design courses, is like that. So universal design just is a kind of that theory of, remember, there are people who are different than you that are out there, and you need to make sure you include those. And so by that, like I was sharing an example earlier, this week there was a webinar that I signed up for but didn't get to attend, and so I had the recording of it. Well, I started watching it, and the person's voice was distracting to me. So I wasn't really catching what they were saying because their voice was distracting me. So instead of trying to muddle through this hour-long video, I just printed the transcript from it and read it. I got the same information without having to watch it. I'm not a visual person, so for my learning style, that works better. And that comes to kind of the second. Students can use like a transcript, for example, to help create a study guide. They can, there are studies that have shown that it can help improve comprehension of complex subjects because they can go back, either rewatch, read the words, watch what's going on. So I want you to think, if you're one of those that thinks closed captioning is just kind of a big pain, which a lot of us do, there's benefits to your students besides just meeting the requirements of the law. So how do we do it? Well, this is our service that we've chosen to go with called CLO24. And I have some screenshots here because, anytime you're using a live service, you never know what it's going to do. So hopefully you can kind of get the gist of how easy this is to use. So this is kind of the landing page, and to get your video closed captioned, or to get a transcript, depending on which way you're going, all you do is click on this little button that says Upload Media. And you can upload a link to a YouTube video, you can upload an MP4, MP3 file, whatever type of media you have, you just click, select, and upload.
How do you hear about these things? How do you hear about these?
Google, like closed captioning services. Okay, and so then what happens, you can see here, there's a couple of results of some that I've done, and it just puts your job out there. There's a status here that shows it'll say pending while they're working on it. And this particular company, what we really like about them is they promise a 48-hour return time. So that's real helpful, like with weekly videos, because you're kind of doing those in a timely manner. And some of the services we looked at took, 5 to 7 days. And we were like, that's not going to really cut it for some of the things we need this for. So they are very fast. These two, in fact, I got back close to the same day. Actually, the same day. You could kind of see. So the start date was 4/4, and I got them back on 4/4. So within almost less than an hour, a couple of hours, they were pretty fast. These were not real long videos, so I'm guessing that's why. But anyway, so you don't have a long time to wait on them to get back. And then the nice thing is there's a couple of different things you can do. So you can kind of see they kind of got cut off, but this little button here says embed. So if I wanted to take and embed this video into my course, that gives me embed code, similar to YouTube when you go get an embed code out of YouTube. Similar to that, so you just copy that code, it's embedded in your course, and the captions are there. Okay, you can also download a transcript of it. So you just would select whichever one you want, click download transcript, and then when you do the transcript, there's some questions that you have to kind of answer. And one thing I'm pointing out, yeah, hopefully we don't have a lot of profanity, but if you do, you probably want to change that to true. But this is the one I kind of want to point out. If you ever are downloading a transcript from it, this replace common slang terms, you always want to check that that's true. Because, as we learned with Dr. Montgomery's videos, if you don't check, if you don't check, and they were on mine too, but they'll say like Ghana, G-O-N-N-A, wanna, W-A-N-N-A, and actually on all our videos, but yours were a whole lot, and we went back and redid them because of that. But we learned the hard way that we need to say true on that little question, and then it will say going to wanting, and it'll do it correctly without having to do a lot of things. And then should you have any profanity, make sure you change that to true, so that those that are, but that did not happen with yours.
What's the redacted or
they don't.
Does it pick up
It doesn't pick up a lot of It will, if it's a real prevalent one, it might pick it up, but if not, it won't. So if it's like a drawn out Oklahoma, yeah.
It's like a book title, prevalent.
Hummingbird.
So when you do a transcript, that's just one thing I want to point out. And you have to click, you don't see it here because it's already clicked, but it says more options. So you have to click a little button that says more options, and then these options come up.
Is that the default what you're showing there?
The default is that except for this. Okay. So and what we found and what we think is happening is the first time you go in and click true on that, we think it saves that for the next time. But we haven't proven that yet. So I would say double check it, because then you don't have to worry about it and all that good stuff. And then you just click download, and it downloads it into a TXT file, which if you're familiar with YouTube, you can always take that and download that into YouTube. You don't really have to do that because you can just use the embed code if it's a video that you own, but that's always an option. When we did Dr. Montgomery's files were all audio files, so we didn't really have a video to embed with them, so the transcripts are what we used. Because if you just have audio, you don't have, of course, closed caption. You just have to provide a transcript.
That is an interesting observation you just made, too, that you could skip some of the trouble if you went with audio. On the other hand, students really want video. I've done surveys. They want video.
They want to see you. I think they really want to make sure.
They want to see something.
They like that. And it's probably learning styles, right? Because, some people really want that and some people may not.
Well, it brings a human element into the course. You feel like it's a real person.
It definitely helps with that community and seeing that you're not, that you actually exist and it's not just some
Not a robot.
Robot that we plug in to grade all the stuff and give all that great feedback that we get, right? But yes, that's a good observation.
I would point out that I think my online course was the first online course ever here to use something beyond just text. because Martha Bands at the time, one of our deans, said, well, you want to try this, we'll give you money. And I said, oh, okay. And I did, and those have been around a long time, and I just kind of edited them.
Yeah.
So in some way, it's the left part of a technology that now you got transcripts. It'd make it a lot easier for me to shoot a video with my own transcript
Yeah.
and not have to. I think that's hopefully going to be the key.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That would be good.
That is really good.
Can I
Yeah,
say one thing?
sure.
So of course transcripts are nice, but if you always have the option for adding closed captioning, that is what is really mandated here. But if there is no way you can add closed captioning to a video, then there's the interactive transcript, which she's going to get into later.
Well, and what we've had happen too with these services, if you use any Vimeo videos, those don't work, so they won't take those. So really, transcript is about the only way you can do those types of videos. So every once in a while, there's a file type that it'll kick back and say.
But that has to be the last resort. Just adding
Yeah.
transcript is the last resort because it's
Right.
not synchronous.
Right. Okay, and this is just a picture of the file that it pops up when you do the download transcript, so you can just see. It's just a nice little TXT file that you know. And I mean, you could read through that and make corrections if you wanted to, but.
They add paragraphs between them. They add paragraphs between them.
No, this is just because it's going to sync up with the video. Now on just a pure transcript without a video, you could go in and edit that. Yeah. Okay, and then this is just a copy of the embed code. So if you were to have clicked on that embed, this is what would come up, and you just add that into your course.
You just take that short URL and you just link it. So they're hosting this, is what they're doing?
Yeah, yes.
Well, you would want to use that embed code and put it in your Moodle.
Yeah, I was
course,
gonna
and
say-
that video would live in your course.
If you use the URL, it's gonna just be the URL they have to click on. So the embed code will do it like Moodle automatically does the YouTube for us, but since this is through CLO, you'd have to put the code in. Yeah. Question?
Is this service available for adjuncts or just full-time faculty?
Right now it is available for anyone who needs it. So if you have something that needs to be done, you need to contact myself or Misty, and we will get you set up for it. Okay. And I say right now because of the grant. So I don't know post-grant how that's all going to work. I mean, we will still have the service. I just don't know where the funding will come to pay for it. So it is $2 a minute. So if you're looking at budgeting, you can kind of think like that. It's going to be $2 a minute, which is much better than you spending 5 hours doing it, right? I mean, in the grand scheme of things. But so I would say yes. Right now it's available, and I don't have any promises after October 1st. It's available as far as, but yeah, yes.
I have a question on the embed code. Do you ever have to change the size of it when you embed it in a Moodle? Sometimes a YouTube video will come in really large into your.
Not
adjust the
that
size.
we've experienced, but
Okay.
we haven't embedded a whole bunch either.
Okay.
So I would say I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay, and then this is an example of how it can work with a video that we don't own. So let's say you have a YouTube video out there. I think this is actually from your course, Tamara, that we don't own the video, but we need some captions for it. That's the other benefit of the service, is they provide a way to have captions without it being on the video. So what happens when you embed it is it puts this box down here, and you'll notice this blue line. This is how it's synchronous. So this little blue box moves as your video talks. That blue box moves, and so it keeps that compliance part there as far as it being in sync. Because of course, when you have it embedded directly into a video, so like your weekly videos, it would just be at the bottom of your video. But for videos that that we haven't made or don't own, this is our option. Now, the other nice thing about it is it gives options here. So the student can download this and save it so they have the transcript. So this goes back to that universal design benefit. And they can have a copy of that transcript anytime they want to go back and look at it. They can print it straight from here as well. They can share it. I'm not sure where all they can share it, but they can also minimize it. So this little thing here is a minimizer. So if they pull it up and they don't need the captions, they can just minimize that and they'll go away. So gives them lots of options of how they want to use it. Okay, questions on CLO. It's pretty easy to use, and we've had it now for almost a month, and we've done quite a few videos through it. So we're still kind of learning the ins and outs, and the people their support people have been great. So if you do want to use this and run into problems, just let us know, because they've been really great at solving anything we've come across.
So we just need to contact you guys to get set up.
Yeah. Just send us an email, and basically we'll give you a login to get into it, and then Misty and I have to go in and basically approve any videos that get closed captioned. So just make sure if you're sending anything that it's for us and you. So
if it's a YouTube video that you own, we will do a plain text transcript and we'll send it back to you, and you can upload it to your YouTube video. Okay. And then if you need help doing that, we can help you.
And I'm actually going to talk about that too, so it'll help too. Okay. The other option you have, so of course you can just sit and type it yourself if you want. You can use CLO, and you can also use Google Voice. So I don't know if many of you are familiar with this or have tried this, but another option is to go into Google Voice, and it's just in your Google Docs under Tools, like this is showing you, and then you click Voice Typing, and then when you're ready to start typing, that click to speak, this part will be kind of on the left side of your page. And you can, as you're making your video, you have to have two computers. That's one of the requirements for this. So you have to have one computer with your Google Voice going, and then one with the video you're making. So that's kind of the caveat there. You can't pull up the Google Doc and have it running in the background of the computer that you're making the video on, because it shuts off. It doesn't work, or I haven't been able to make it work. So you got one computer with your voice, and then one with your video. And I think, Misty kind of brought up one time that you could do the video with your phone
or the voice with your phone.
Or the voice with your phone. So you may not have to have actually two operating systems, so to speak, to do this. But you just talk, and it's kind of cool. It just types as you're talking. I have found, because in my office, the internet, I know you'll be surprised to hear this, that sometimes the internet goes kind of off. And so if the internet goes off, of course it stops typing, and then you got to start over. So the little things like that. But once you get it, then you can make any adjustments on it that you need right there in the doc, and then do a file download as a TXT and upload that file to YouTube. So there is what you could say is a free tool out there to help you as well. So CLO is kind of the paid tool. Google Voice is the free tool. But if you haven't tried it, you might give it a try and see what it's like.
Does this give you the synchronous?
Well, it only works with videos you own on YouTube. Okay. So you'll just, when you upload that file into YouTube, it'll sync it up.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're basically just using a Google Doc to create your transcript without you doing all the typing. Mm-hmm. You're just doing the talking, and it's catching your voice. So it's kind of cool. And it works pretty good. It's you have to speak clearly, so it's kind of like when the YouTube automatic captions don't. It will sometimes do that too if you're not speaking real clearly.
I've actually recorded my video, and then I've played my video, and then just did the voice type thing, and it's recorded it all. So I didn't have to do the video and watch and see if it was typing at the same time. So
were you able to do that on one computer?
No, I think I used my phone.
Okay.
And as with the uncertainty of funding that we have, that might be the wave of our future.
Free is always.
At least it's there. At least it's a tool that's better than having to type everything. Because I always figure if I just have to go in and make a few corrections, it's a lot faster than typing the whole thing myself. Okay, and then the last thing I have here is just how to add your transcripts in YouTube. So if you do decide to use Google Voice, or let's say in CLO you have the transcript and you just want to do it through YouTube for some reason, it's real easy. You just go into edit mode in YouTube and you just click up here on subtitles and closed caption, and then sometimes it's going to ask you what language you need it under, and I mean, you know, you can pick whatever language you want. I usually pick English, and then once you do that, this will come up, and then you just click upload file, and you find your file, and it adds it in here, and kind of adds it all in one big clump. And so you just click on set timings, and that's what will sync it to your video. And then that takes a few minutes, sometimes longer to do. And then once it's done, you'll have the option to publish it. So you can kind of see here the difference. Like this is broken up by the timing of the video. And then I could go in here and make edits if I needed to. And I would just suggest doing any editing before you click publish, because otherwise you have to unpublish it. It's not impossible, but you have to unpublish it and republish and all that good stuff. So
I've done that in YouTube before. You can still do that?
Yes. This is if your transcript is accurate.
No, I mean, how accurate is the timing?
The timing is pretty
It's pretty
accurate.
good.
Yeah, the timing is pretty accurate. But I would really suggest either way. So whether you're using CLO, you're using Google Voice, if you're just typing it yourself, I would suggest taking a run through of it, especially if you're going to publish it or embed it or whatever. Look at the transcript, because even with CLO, they make mistakes, and so if you're real picky about like capitalization, like say your course being the name of your course being capitalized or something like that, there may be things like that you need to go in and check. Or if you have weird names that are names that aren't real common, like maybe some of the philosophers or something. And yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to guarantee that all those are spelled correctly. So you might, I would just encourage you, whichever way you go, because even if you type it, I mean, I've typed some of my own, and then I go back and say, what was I typing? That's not what it says. Just double check that it looks, the way you want it, and then just in YouTube especially, make sure you hit publish so those captions will be on there.
Yeah, and it sometimes doesn't recognize punctuation, and you get those little black question marks.
Yeah, and those will be on your video. So because you can kind of see here, like question mark, you have to go take them out. Yeah, or sometimes honestly, I just leave them. I don't know. It looks weird, but they can figure that out, right? Okay. So, any questions, comments? Yes.
Even after you publish it, sometimes it will still have the automatic captions that YouTube tries to stick on there, which are really, really wrong. And so you have to go in and unpublish that automatic one, because it will always choose that over yours. Because I've noticed that sometimes I put a transcript up and they'll watch the video and it's still wrong.
And that would be right in this area. It doesn't show on this screen, but you'll have two boxes, and one will say like English automatic, and then just English.
And it will have a green light if it's published. So if you see two green lights, you know that it's choosing its automatic one, and you need to go in and unpublish it.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments? So we don't have like a, what we hope to sometime be able to present is a definite, like, here is what you need to do. Like you have to do, like if you're going to show a video, this is when it has to be captioned. And so until we get to that point, and if you ask Misty and I, we're going to say all videos have to be captioned. That's our stance, right, Misty?